I got some really interesting leads on other film festivals to enter, and I had already entered around 115. So now we're up to about 125 independent film festivals. And what I realized is that you sort of have to adapt to the situation that's going on. And we seem to be doing very well in the film festival circuit. And the more I thought about it, I really didn't see why we shouldn't extend the film festival run through all of 2026. I think in my head, the idea was to, try to release the documentary, maybe later this year. But I think momentum's still building. It doesn't really make sense. Might as well just keep going. You look at where you're succeeding and then maybe you emphasize that. So you got to adapt. Recently, the North Film Festival concluded. This is a film festival that takes place in Barcelona, and but also has a New York City base to it as well. But ours, we played in the Barcelona Film Festival, and they just concluded, and we were nominated. So we pick up a Best Documentary Feature nomination here: Video Dreams, VHS Massacre Story, and they announced the winners. So we didn't win, but we got a nomination, and almost just as good. So thanks to the North Film Festival, that was pretty cool. And it's an interesting thing. We're doing well in the United States, but we're doing even better abroad. And one of the things I think is happening is that, let's say, throughout Europe and Scandinavia and Australia, South America, Video Dreams is seen more as a cultural documentary, historic, because it covers the last 30 years of low budget independent filmmaking in the US. But in the US, I think it's seen more as just sort of cult film doc, you know. Um, but like I said, there are a lot of film festivals in the U.S. that have played it. Like I said, some pretty big ones: San Francisco Indie Fest and um, Lake County, Red Rose in Pennsylvania. They gave us a Best Picture nomination. In Washington, Tri Cities gave us a Best Documentary win. Um, so there's definitely a lot of film festivals out there that sort of get what we're trying to do, but not every festival will, and that's just something you have to understand. Um, so um, with this film, we've been creating what's called a DCP for film festivals, digital cinema package, and essentially we took our Apple ProRes master, which is, I don't know, something like 120 gigs 4K file, and you use special software to convert it into a digital cinema package, which then movie theaters can play. It's a contemporary film print digital. Uh, so we've been using that a lot in film festivals, everywhere from Toronto Underground to San Francisco Indie Fest. Have been using those. Some film festivals just want like a high quality MP4, which is also good. Um, but I've started on my next project, and usually when the picture's kind of locked and more or less finished, what I like to do is back everything up. I mean, I always have my documentaries in redundant with redundancy on two hard drives, but typically when I archive something, I like to have the film online somewhere. That could be a MP4, Google Drive upload. It could also be on YouTube, even though you're only going to be able to download, instead of a 4K, something like a 1080. I like to have it, and then I like to have it physically on two hard drives. So in a way, it's like three times redundancy. Um, so I like these hard drives. These for my archiving. It's Lacy rugged hard drive. This is a 4 terabyte, and it's not solid state. And the reason why it's not solid state is because this is about $150, 140, 150, whereas the solid state could be uh, double or triple that, at least double. And so, so the thing is, I need two of these. So this hard drive, so I have a redundant hard drive, the exact same kind, and it contains everything, all the raw footage, all the paperwork, the masters, the DCP, everything goes on this, and then I have a second one exactly like this. In addition, I usually have internally on my computer somewhere, I'll have like another copy, MP4 or something ProRes. I think I have a ProRes on this other drive. So they're they're everywhere, and it's because I grew up in a time where this stuff was very unreliable, and so it's important to have redundancy. And also back in the day when we were doing masters, we would do digibeta, which is digital tape, and before that we would do beta SP, and these were high quality tape masters, standard definition, but it was um, it was just to have something outside of let's say digital media to have a copy. And so in lieu of that, I like to have that stuff. In addition, a lot of my films, almost all of my films in some way or another, are on physical media, Blu-ray, DVD, even a VHS here and there. And that's something I always like. I always effort and try to do that with every one of my releases, is to get them on physical media. And I've been successful. Yeah, every one of them has a release of some kind physically. So Video Dreams, we've yet to do that yet. But where I'm hopeful that I will actually have a few choices of distributors for that one in regard to physical media. But that is something that we're going to do after the festivals, then streaming, then physical media. It's because this template seems to work. It's a collector's market, and I think people kind of have to know what your film is if they're going to buy it. And so that worked for American Expendables, did well in festivals, did well in streaming, and then Vinegar Syndrome and ETR were like, yeah, we'll put it out. And a lot of it was because it was known at that point. So I think this is different than it was growing up, where things were very like, you didn't want to show your film too much before it was distributed, um, for fear of bad reception or things like that. Where this one is just like, let it out there. Does it have an audience or not? Um, okay, so what is cool about today is that we're supposed to hear back from a few different film festivals. Now, truth be told, when a film festival announces its notification date, meaning like let's say you entered a few months ago and the date comes up where they're supposed to let you know whether you got in or whether you didn't, um, uh, most of the time they don't do it that day. It drifts, it could drift a day or two. It could be pushed back. It just depends on how many entries they got in last minute. There's a bunch of other factors. So you do have to be patient with this. It's a very like Zen thing. You enter film festivals and you have to just try to forget it and do other stuff. So one of the cool ones we're waiting to hear back from is Arizona Underground. This is, I think, one of the biggest underground film festivals, at least in the Southwest. Um, so looks pretty cool. Look at their sponsors. Look cool. Severin, Shock Cinema, all these cool things. So there's a VHS tape there. This looks like a festival that I would want to go to. personally. So we'll see. It doesn't mean I'll get selected at all. It's always a long shot, and sometimes these guys just they can only program so many films. That's It's just an odds thing. Leads me next to Cleveland. This is an Academy Award qualifying and film festival, meaning that certain categories, I think shorts, maybe feature docs too, they actually will pull um, the winners here. Let's say could be put on a short list to then be considered for a nomination for Academy Award, because there are other underground film festivals that are just as important as these festivals. It just This one is more tied into the studio system. So anyway, this is a super long shot. This is, but you know what? You got to bet on yourself sometimes. So sometimes I try these things. Similarly, I entered like Slam Dance and Austin Film Festival. These are very big um, festivals that my film may not exactly be designed for, but sometimes you got to take big swings. There's another cool one here called Weekend of Fear. This is a horror film festival. We might not be an exact match for these guys. Um, but Weekend of Fear, it's an awesome film festival. I believe it's in Germany. I think it's a German film festival. This is very cool. We're nominated at the Doc Only Film Festival. This is in Copenhagen, Denmark. And this looks like a very cool independent film festival. And I think the screening dates are to be announced, and it looks like maybe kind of a hybrid film festival. We'll have to see, but we were happy to get into this one. In addition, we're in this thing called the Always Late TV Film Awards. I think I could try to bring that up. Sorry, Always Late TV Movie Awards. This is a fully produced award show. Video Dreams, so that's really cool as well. I've been hinting at this new project that I've started, and it's underway. We actually have some really cool interviews planned, and I'll go into that down the road a bit. I think I can say. I mean, we're planning to interview Bill Russell, who was in actually one of the Puppet Master movies from Full Moon, and he actually was in one of the most famous Blockbuster Video commercials where it shows a video store. The video store pops up, the roof comes off, and it was all done practically. So we're going to talk about the production on that. He was also in a Pizza Hut commercial and White Castle. This delves into some of the stuff we're talking about with the Enter the Television documentary. And one of the coolest things about it is that we do have Lloyd Kaufman is on board for the film. And then I'm talking to Debbie Rashan, and we're going to figure out a way to get her in the film too. So it's kind of like getting the gang back. We have Professor James Richardson. He's got some really good stuff talking about. I don't want to give it away, but he's always super knowledgeable, super entertaining. And Tim Kulig, he's in the film and a producer on it, and his stuff's always great. And then we got like a shot of Max Headroom, a shot of me, a shot of Lloyd, and we also have Greg Brewer from Fanzine. He's going to be involved in it, and so yeah, this has been fun. I've been able to kind of delve into some media theory, um, doing a lot of research and listening and reading Marshall McLuhan stuff. His media theory. He's got some really wild sound bites, that I think he was popularized in the 70s and 80s, and uh, his stuff is very important. But I think I think it would be fun to pull in Marshall McLuhan into a modern um, documentary about TV commercials. I think, you know, think people would find him refreshing, actually. So I think it's going to be very interesting. There's this other guy, Neil Postman, who's also like a media uh, professor, who's got some good stuff too. Uh, so yeah, we'll see. This is an evolving project, and I like the investigating. There's a sort of journalistic portion to this where you're kind of going down a path and investigating, and so I like that element, and I like mysteries and stuff like that. There's some cool mysteries in this thing, so um, I think that's going to be good. So excited that Lloyd's a part of it. Lloyd's been part of my films for the last actually 10 years plus. He was in one of my horror films back in '09, I think. So yeah, yeah. That's about it for now. Fingers crossed. We'll probably get some news back from the film festivals. But to be honest, so when you enter film festivals, most of the time it's a no. Sometimes it's a yes. That's just how it is. I think we're hovering around a 40% acceptance rate, which is very high. Like even one out of three, 30% would be very high. So we're doing very well. But the truth is, mentally, although there are some times we get rejected by some big festival and it kind of takes the wind out of you. If someone's not interested, that door closes. But at least you can check it off your list and then you can move on. And the way I think of it is the more rejections, the more likely a an approval selection, you know. So the worst the worst we ever did, I think, was like there was 5 or 6 rejections in a row, and then we got into something really big, like Melbourne or something, Melbourne Underground. So like you just never know. You just have to have faith in the project, and I do believe in the film festival circuit. There does seem to be some, is there like a glass ceiling in regard to low budget films breaking into, like, let's say commercial film festivals, corporate and studio film festivals that are beholden to, let's say, sponsors, or agents, the studio system, or just plain nepotism. Yeah, it's definitely there, but the only thing you can do is just keep entering. I think, by the end of this film festival run, probably over the course of my entire career, it's possible that I've entered close to 200 film festivals. Film Freeway alone has, I think, 108 listed, and there's a lot of stuff I didn't include on there. So, um, and that's only since for the last 10 years, not the last 30. So, I think at that point, I'll actually have kind of conclusive evidence as to how far you can go given a film's budget without a major heavy hitting agent that can push your way in, or heavy connections and nepotism, or without it directly being acquired by the studio and then pushed through. So we'll see, and I'll let you know. I mean, it's I think there's something there, something to talk about. But not to be negative. If I do it, I'll try to be as positive as possible. Anyway, if I talk about that stuff. But in any case, all right, yeah. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.